Robert?
Yes.
Hi, this is Steve Harris calling from Tokyo.
Hi there, how are you?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Oh, doing great. It's nice to meet you over the phone.
Yeah, same here. I've been provided with a list of questions from a journalist at Rock Magazine. I'm actually an interpreter by trade.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so there might be some inconsistencies here, but please bear with me.
Oh, well, there'll be some inconsistencies from me, too.
Okay.
So I ask the same of you.
Okay, great. This will be kind of an introductory article about the band, because the band has never appeared in this magazine before.
Right.
So I guess first of all,
now tell me about the magazine, if you don't mind, for just a second.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Rolling Stone of Japan. It's the biggest selling music magazine here.
Right.
And the emphasis has always been on British stuff or indie stuff. With a little bit of hip hop thrown in, a little bit of mainstream thrown in.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We do a lot of new bands, and obviously, I guess you guys are included under that header.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I guess we are.
Yeah. So we need some, I guess, background on you first of all. How long have you guys been a performing unit?
Let's see. We started the band I got together with another guitar player named Chris in the summer of '92, and this was in Denver, where we live in Colorado. And I had moved there about a year before that, or not even a year, like 6 months. We got together because we wanted to form a band. We were kind of inspired by Syd Barrett and the Pink Floyd's first record, and by the Velvet Underground and the Beach Boys. Mainly, and the Tall Dwarfs and the Beatles and other bands, but mainly inspired by those bands. The first four I mentioned. We wanted to do we didn't hear any bands that sounded like those bands, not like them, but had the elements of those bands that we really liked. And we thought, we can recognize these elements, we can play them, we have great songs, we should have a band. And so we got together and started writing some songs and playing. That was Chris, the guitar player, and I. We had very similar guitar playing styles, and so it was really good for us. And then our friends Jim and Hillary joined a little later on, and by the end of the year, I think we played our first show at the very beginning of 1993. And that was at an open stage in a bar, where you just, open mic, where you go up and they have... you perform a few songs for the people, basically, and mostly it's acoustic artists, but we went up there and Hillary had a toy drum set, and we had our loud guitar amps, and we played some songs, and then we played again in a coffee house like a month later, and in front of almost nobody except for my parents and my little brothers. And then, we went on and played a few shows. Over time, Chris left the band, and Jim left the band, and now we play, then we started playing a lot about probably the end of '92, or the end of '93. I started playing pretty often, and since then we've been playing a lot. We started touring in '94, and we toured a couple of times that year. We toured a lot last year, and we're touring a lot this year so far. And that's our playing history. If that was, specifically your question.
I see. Okay. So when exactly did you quit your day job?
We live very, very humbly, and fairly simply, as simple as one could live in a city in the modern day, I guess. And so we would, we always worked part time, and then when Spin Arts, none of us have quit our day jobs yet, except for me, and I record people in my recording studio on my 8-track. Not very often, just a couple of albums a year that I really want to do, of my friends usually. And so I make a little bit of money doing that, a little, money recording with my friends through the year, and we, and I kind of live off that. Hillary works, from time to time. John works, and Eric works, and so we haven't gotten to quit our jobs yet.
I see.
Hopefully soon.
What's the average age of the band?
25.
25. So you were inspired mostly by bands who were maybe popular about the time you guys were born, then, or even before that. Or
probably broken up or stopped. All of the records that we love the best were, for most of us, put out before we were born. John is 29, and even before he was born, most of the records were the best record, what we consider to be the best records, came out, about when he was born. And so he was very lucky to have come out of that. We just missed it. we came out when all the crappy stuff started happening.
Well, wasn't there anything you guys were into, like...
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's good bands, modern bands and stuff, but like the Tall Dwarfs and Chris Knox, and really the whole Flying Nun New Zealand scene was really good. And, you know, we liked... I mean, there aren't a lot of bands, to tell you the truth. You know, Dinosaur Jr., you know, Hillary and Eric and Jim were all really into punk rock. I've always really just been into old music. Mainly 60s, psychedelic, you know, swing, big band, that kind of stuff. You know, I like a lot of music from the early 80s, from when I was a kid. You know, a lot of the British stuff, kind of pop stuff, the kind of sort of psychedelic stuff, and, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, and we liked REM in high school, some of us, and that sort of thing. And mostly, you know, most of our influences, though, are either, you know, punk rock bands in general, which doesn't come through much in the music, but, or our background, anyway, or psychedelic bands and, you know, 60s bands.
Yeah.
And to a smaller degree, like, you know, Hoagie Carmichael and George Gershwin and that kind of stuff. Like older music, on the songwriting.
And I guess it's just sort of a tangential note to what's going on today. You guys have all gathered at the home of Hillary's parents' house or something?
Yes. It's our first day off of this tour. We've just been out for exactly a week, and we played 7 shows in a row. And so we've never done that before, I don't think. Maybe we have. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, we really need a break. So we just, John and Eric and I and our friend Patrick, who is, Eric plays bass and John plays guitar in the band, and just to give you background. And Patrick is our friend who is, you know, he helps us and helps us organize our stuff and kind of, I guess, the tour manager and pal. And we were just walking down the railroad tracks throwing stones at some old electric wires and stuff, and it was very relaxing. Now they're playing frisbee outside. Hillary's been hanging out with us folks, and that was our day today.
Oh, I see. Right.
And tomorrow we have to go and play another show.
So even when you guys have time off, you still spend time together?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, and usually even on the days that we have shows, we'll go somewhere nice along the way, and not, you know, spend time by a lake, go climb around on some rocks, go to a forest, go to, you know, sightseeing, you know, go to whatever. Especially if we're on the, you know, on the coast, there's a lot of really beautiful places by the ocean. We'll go to the beach. You know, I mean, like, we'll wake up near the beach, we'll go to the beach in the morning, then drive to a show at night. We do that almost every day, and you know, go see things. It's really fun. So right now we're going through the Midwest, which is more, you know, there's a lot of beautiful things, not like touristy things, like in California, or like you know, we went to go see Plymouth Rock, or, you know, just little things all over the country, little landmarks and things, historical sites, and mostly we're like beautiful natural locations, I guess. We were and we went down and skipped rocks down at this river under this railroad bridge just a little while ago. It was very, very, very fun. Then we had to rush back because I realized it was time for me to talk to you.
So it's kind of an idyllic lifestyle right now.
Well, sometimes. I mean, it's hard when right now this tour we haven't really been able to spend so much time going to see sights and stuff during the day because we've had to drive large distances and go from show to show. You know, go from show to show every night, and so it's pretty much drive, get there, set up, go mess around town for an hour or two, or just play video games or something in the bar, then play, then drive a little bit, get a motel, wake up, drive. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of that. It's not quite so gratifying, but playing the shows is always fun. And so I guess you know, that's one really gratifying thing every day, but at the same time, there's not a whole lot of time off. So it's very valuable to have these days off. It's nice.
Is there ample time to pursue creative activities, to actually write new material?
I always kind of have songs going through in my head, but there's not as much time as I would like to, you know, to sit and play guitar and sing by myself, you know, work things out. We're busy recording an album right now, and so it's hard because, you know, I'd like to be recording at home, we all would, and on our 8-track. And, you know, we're out here touring, and so I've got these big plans going through my head for the record. And at the same time, you know, I like to read a lot and try to relax in the van, meditate, that sort of thing. and it's, but, gosh, I lost track of the question. Which I mean, not the general subject, but the specific prompting.
About having, whether you have time to actually pursue creative activities. That was
Right. Yes, I mean, I not really on the road so much. I'll be working on songs here and there. I'll pull out the guitar sometimes. In the hotel room, I'll have an idea. It's mostly when I have an idea and I absolutely have to play the guitar. That's really it, because there's not time for me to just sit around and play.
Right.
I don't even get to do enough of that at home because I'm recording so often with other people or with our band and trying to and practicing and stuff like that.
Right.
But I just bought a little portable 4-track recorder. It's a little it's a little like Walkman 4-track. It's an old one. I guess it never caught on. I can't figure out how to use it on more than one track. And so but I know that when I get back and I can find somebody to show me how to use it, I can. That'll be really fun for on the road, just for coming up with ideas, harmonies. Put down a guitar, then in the car, instead of having just a little handheld dictation recorder, I can, which I usually will hum in the vocal line, then I'll hum in the harmony after that. Now I can put them at the same time. Well, not now because I haven't figured it out yet.
Right. And you guys are using like instruments like the theremin and the moog, and I guess we call it a moog rather.
Right. I would call it a moog too.
I don't know whether to call it a moog or a moog.
I call it a moog, but I think it's supposed to be pronounced moog.
Okay. Well, let's call it a moog for the time.
Yeah, I will.
You guys are using analog sort of, stuff that was considered cutting edge maybe 30 years ago.
Right. I love those things. It's great.
What exactly is it about those things that thrill you?
Well, I guess a few things. I guess the first thing is that my first instrument was an analog synthesizer. It was a little Moog that was put out. It was a little Moog synthesizer that was. You could pretty much. It was mainly. You could make musical notes, but it's pretty boring. It was monophonic. No, it was polyphonic, but the sound effects, the synthesizer part was monophonic. The only thing that was polyphonic was that you could play more than one tones of this beep. But only one of them would actually sound like a synthesizer. Do you know what I mean? Like if you play a chord, you'd hear the chord, but the chord would sound like you're playing on a Casio, except that one of the notes would be going, but it's kind of crappy. So it's mainly good for sound effects. And I used to make recordings on my boombox. I would do little ping-ponging multi-track recordings. This was when I was, say, 12. I got it for my 12th birthday. I got a Moog and a boombox. and I started writing songs and making songs between them. Next year I got a guitar, and then so that was my first musical expression, was messing around with this thing, making these sound effects, making a UFO, making a helicopter, making a bass guitar sound or a piano, which really didn't sound anything like it, but it did to me at the time in 7th grade, and so the first reason that I love those sounds is just because it really takes me back to the earliest time that I was being musically creative,
right?
And that was really creative feeling for me, and so it still makes me feel really creative. Those sounds just thrill me. The kind of that's the other thing, is that I just love the spaciness of them, the futuristic quality that they kind of that they conjure, but at the same time they're not futuristic at all. They're really quaint. Right. And antiquated, and so it's like that sound of a Moog making blips or a robot sound or something, a UFO. That sound is like it's a symbol to your ears of outer space and the future, but it's a really quaint, old-fashioned symbol.
Right.
And so I really like to look towards the future. I mean, and even in I really like science fiction movies and stuff. And when I was a child, I loved comic books, especially science fiction ones, and outer space and stuff. And all of that imagery is something in my head that I feel very attached to. And the Moog, in a way, kind of brings all of that out. And at the same time, it's a very wild and yet. Well, I don't know. It's really a way to just sculpt your own world with sounds that don't resemble nature, yet that they have an impact that's recognizable. It sounds like a space sound to you because you've seen so many movies with the space sound like that.
Right.
And all of those movies are probably very old ones. I don't know. Our music's kind of like that. I feel like it's very forward-looking. We don't want we don't want to be anything like the past. We want to, we don't want to emulate our idols. We want to follow up on them and top them. And so at the same time, our idols were all people from a long time ago.
Yeah.
The Moog's kind of like that too. It's it's very old-fashioned, and yet it's very futuristic in its sound.
And I guess is it just coincidence that we've got this sort of semi-boom on these days, this space-age bachelor pad music, so-called space-age bachelor pad music that sort of features theremins and
right.
and Moogs and the old analog equipment there.
I think it's because people our age grew up at the exact same time. I don't know how old you are. How old are you?
I'm 38.
So yeah, from say like 1900. When was like Flash Gordon movies? That was in the 40s or the 30s?
Yeah, Flash Gordon stuff was 40s, I think.
Okay, from like that time until like the late 60s, you have this, you have all of the science fiction that's very low budget with those kinds of sound effects.
Right.
And then from the 60s on, they're on TV all the time. And so they're always there for us to watch. Pretty much everything after the baby boomer generation probably has that that thrill of the sci-fi kind of thing from birth. I don't know. I mean, maybe you didn't. Maybe somebody else didn't. But I think that the average, especially among musicians, that seems to have been something that stuck as an influence. So you do hear a lot of that stuff. I mean, from most of the bands, not the spaciness. Well, yeah, the spaciness, I guess. I guess and I like that, and at the same time, I don't listen to much of that kind of music. It doesn't turn me on as much because I don't think that the writing is that strong. It's all mood and atmosphere, and I like the mood and atmosphere. But what I really like is songs. I mean, I love melodies and harmonies, chord progressions, structure, guitar riffs, that kind of stuff. And for me, the futurism and the kind of surreal quality is just to make the recording more enticing, but it should stand on its own just as a song. And a lot of that, I mean, I do think that it is musically strong. I don't mean to put it down because I think that it's that genre has inspires a sense of atmosphere that I love. And that and that I love in my music too. That same sense of atmosphere, and but I don't listen to it much because I'd rather listen to the Kinks, or the Zombies or the Beach Boys, or Phil Spector, and so because it's really the songs and the rhythms and the music that really gets me in my heart. It's more the sound of it is more of the modern recording technology aspect. And I love that just as much as the songs. And that's the part that I want to make, interesting and magical, where the songs are beautiful and classic, hopefully, yet the recording stands up to 1 million listenings because it's so interesting. It would be the goal. Of listening, not just of having it on in the background.
Right.
And go on. I'm sorry.
No, do you think that anybody is sort of succeeding at creating the type of thing you have in mind right now? Do you see any other artists out there sort of who fit in the same mold as you?
And there are some bands I really like, and I mean, I hope I don't sound. What I'm saying is, that's our aspiration, not our accomplishment. Yeah, that'd be great. Either way, but I think, there are bands that I really like that in ways I see ourselves in, and I mean, this is just like in one way, like the High Llama's new album, Hawaii, that just came out. There's an aspect of what I love in there, but it's nothing like what we do. But there's there's an aspect of what I love to do, even though it's not in that style. Let's see, another Pavement, the Flaming Lips, you know, in the back, you know, in some of the sounds and you know and that sort of thing. You know, maybe Guided by Voices. I can't think of a lot of bands. Maybe the Boo Radleys, but they're, you know, much more polished and slicker and more commercial.
Right.
But as far as the, you know, kind of spacey pop,
what about Stereolab?
Mostly, I mean, yeah, and Stereolab, and
Beck?
And who?
Beck?
Beck? Gosh, I don't know. Beck's different. I mean, those bands are bands that I would consider to be pop songs-oriented bands.
Right.
And I don't think Beck is pop song-oriented. I think his songs are more, you know, they're more, what's the word? I would say that they're more rooted in more Americana-type music and, you know, blues and folk and, you know, and rock. Like I don't know, maybe Stones and that kind of thing. I don't know, but I do think he's very good. But I wouldn't consider it to be the same genre. The bands I named, I guess I would. They're pop, and that's what I guess overall I would say that our music is pop music. It's you know at the bottom, you know, it's rock music, but it's mainly pop music because the song is the emphasis, not the how much the band rocks out. Not the guitar riff, you know, not the sound, not the atmosphere that it conjures up, you know, not even the harmonies and the embellishments. You know, those are although those are all very, very important elements. It's not the most important thing to us. It's it's the songs and the sentiment, and which is the same thing that really moves me about classic songwriters and the songs that I love.
Just out of curiosity, how did you come across the High Llamas album Hawaii? Because I think that was just recently released. I mean, it's a very, very new release.
I got it at Wax Track. I think my friend, a friend of ours who lives or who works at this record store in Denver, played us a promo of it, and then got us a copy of it as a double album import from England, where I think it already came out.
Oh, I see.
And it was like, you know, $20 or something. And I got it on vinyl, and then it came in on CD, so I got it on CD too because my record player was skipping a lot, and I really wanted to hear it all the way through. And so, and it's oh, that's fine. So
you've got friends looking out for you and kind of turning you on to.
Yeah, it's the new stuff that comes out that I would like. Which I mean, you know, it really, and I mean, I love things that, you know, when I hear something great, I flip out because there's a lot of really good music, but I would rather listen to the Beach Boys than something less good. And so there aren't that many modern bands that, I mean, I love to listen to bands. Usually the best bands I hear nowadays are bands that we'll just like play with on tour that you might have never heard of, or that just have a couple of singles out. There aren't a lot of bands in the last 25 years that I would consider. There have maybe been as many bands in the last 30 years that I would consider to be of just huge greatness as there were in the 10 years before that.
Right.
And maybe, and probably not. No, I don't think so. Probably not. And most of those bands have been around since the 90s. I mean, in my opinion, almost all of those bands have been since probably 1990 or 91 that their records have come out. For the bands that I think of our time have been, you know, of our generation, I guess, have been really classic bands. And not just of our generation. I don't think. I mean, in the 80s, there were some really, really great bands that I used to listen to when I was a kid, and so I guess I can't say. But I don't listen to them anymore. They're not in the style of music that I listen to anymore. They didn't hold up for me for repeated listenings, although for other, you know, my friends, other band members, they do. So I'm speaking for myself in that way, because you know. Some of our favorite bands, I mean, when I say our, I mean other members of the band, do come from the 70s or the 80s or the 90s or before. But for me, the bands that have really struck me as being great pop bands. That's the thing. I mean, I'm talking about something that only has really had a resurgence in the last 5 years. You know, before that, it died around 1969 or 70. That was just pop. Right. You know, in all of its aspects. It was around for about 50 or 60 years. It died, and now it's starting to come back. Right. And so, except in the most crappy commercial kind of bland form, you know, which it survived. It's just coming back now as a, because I guess people have worn out a lot of the possibilities of the band, just as a band, just all the various combinations you can put your instruments together to make it interesting. Now we have to put them together into chords, structures, and melodies again. Even if it's just 2 or 3 chords, like Wild Thing, which is the best kind of combination, plus a really great melody, and that's. So I guess I can't for the music that I love. There wasn't that much through the 70s and the 80s, and so I guess so I'm in no way knocking those periods, because I know that my friends love a lot of bands.
Right. So Robert, we're running out of time here.
I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. Let me just kind of wind this down now.
Okay.
I was wondering, do you think there's a place for the Apples in stereo in the mainstream, or are you guys more of a niche band, a cult band?
Honestly, I honestly think that we should be on every radio station and, pipe through the supermarkets, on TV. I would like to see the music there, because I think that the songs are catchy, they're universal, they're positive. And, my aim would be that they're the kinds of songs that little girls and boys could listen to, teenagers would love, indie kids, classic rockers, baby boomers, and grandparents would love. That anybody could say, oh, that's nice, or that's really good. I'm surprised, that's really good. I don't usually like this, or maybe I do, but that one's really good. And that kind of universality is what we strive for in our music. It's just sad that right now we don't have access to the mainstream, because I'm not trying to say that I want to aim to be any more commercial in the sense that you would pander to the public, but I believe that the music that we make is of a quality that anybody could enjoy it, and that everybody should. And so I would say we don't aspire to be famous, we don't aspire to be rich, we don't aspire to be rock stars, we don't aspire to be heroes. We aspire to be for the songs to survive past the time of our band, maybe past our lifetimes.
Right.
And that's that's our biggest goal. And so I would consider that to be the mainstream over the period of time. And that's what we want. I guess what we'd like to stand.
All right. Well, that makes sense. And I thank you for your time. I think that there are other interviews and stuff scheduled, so I'll let you get going then. And
and your name's Kevin?
No, my name is Steve.
Oh, Steve. That's right.
And once again, this is for Rock You Magazine.
Right.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah, so I wish you guys the best of luck, and
thank you so much. It's so nice to talk to you.
Yeah, same. I hope you can make it out here someday.
We're going to be out there. We're going to be there on July 17th.
Oh, really? What sort of a deal?
We're going to tour for about a week or about a week and a half probably, and then we're going to be there again towards the end of August for about the same amount of time. So we'll be there twice over the summer.
Why are there two different schedules?
I'm not sure. The second one isn't totally firm. It's not confirmed yet, but I believe that it's just two different promotional swings. I'm not sure the reason yet.
I see. All right. Well,
but we're very excited about it. Although I'm terrified of flying, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. We've always wanted to go to Japan. You're really lucky.
Great. Well,
you like it?
Well, yeah. It's a lot of fun out here. All I can tell you is flying is a very good alternative to taking a ship.
It is.
It would take you a long time to sail to cruise out here on a ship.
Do you think you could do it?
It would take a while. I mean, it takes quite a while to cross the Pacific Ocean.
Like a month?
Probably not a month, but I mean, it would take a couple of weeks, I think. But
it wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, maybe not, but at least on an airplane, you can do it in about 8 hours from.
That's true. 8 terrified hours.
Yeah, forget about it once you're on there, though. So yeah, don't worry too much about it. So anyway, I hope I get a chance to see you when you come out here.
Thank you very much, Steve. I really appreciate your talking to me, and please tell whoever the writer of the article is, thank you from me.
All right.
And thank you for being interested.
Okay, well.
And I really appreciate it. Have a great day or night or whatever it is there.
Yeah, you too.
It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.